This short reality check follows an astonishing day yesterday in Ireland, where the reopening was deferred indefinitely, possibly, based on atrociously bad science and zero logic. We're talking about this man who seems to have single-handed dictatorial control over Ireland. Here we have Ireland, the only place in Europe where indoor dining is not allowed. Out of the whole of Europe, right? Makes zero sense, but here we are. Also, Ireland is the only country in Europe not using rapid antigen testing. Now, what could explain people accepting this nonsense? Well, the only thing I can think of is a special kind of stupid. Sorry, guys. It's the perfect technology to manage this challenge, especially out of season when almost nothing is going on. How can people not realise that last year, all summer, in Northern Europe, effectively nothing was happening and there weren't even any meds? And it's the same this year with the meds. Here's another look. 2020, all of Europe, collapse in the problem in the summer. 2021, the exact same curve, right? So this is without meds, this is with meds. Doesn't make much difference really. The curves collapse in the summer. How can people not understand this basic seasonal reality? Again, I'm sorry guys, but come on. The Delta variant. What is the Delta variant? Is it different from the Indian variant? Well, the Delta variant is the Indian variant. It was simply renamed due to accusations of racism, I believe. But the reality is, people think there is a Delta and an Indian variant, which is double scary. But again, it's all pretty much nonsense, as I'll show you. This can be downloaded from Public Health England. It shows the relative amount of variants, and you can see the purple here is the Delta or Indian variant. And since mid-April, it has come to absolutely dominate, and by early June was up at around 90% plus. So it completely took over the UK over a couple of months. But what happened to the impacts? Well, we have the data. You can look it up here at this link. Up to 17th of June. A little bit up now in hospitalisations. But again, many of those are with, not of. And we'll take the trend line of what's been happening. We'll superimpose it over the Delta variant domination. And we see that as the Delta variant over 2 months completely took over, almost nothing happened to hospitalisations. There's a little tail up here at the end, but it's still tiny compared to what you do any measures for. This is a de facto proof that the Delta variant is no major issue at all, even though everyone's using it to inflict outrageous restrictions on society, which are destroying the economy, businesses, society in general, for nothing. Now that is a special kind of stupid. What about Ireland? I'm hearing it from the inside now that up to 40% is being seen in certain hospitals as Delta. Northern Ireland's over 60% Delta now, and the UK, as I said, is almost 100%. But nothing effectively is happening in the hospitals. So remember the hashtag. Take action, guys. Here's Northern Ireland. This is around a week ago on RTE, right? Over 50% at that stage. And no ICU and nothing going on effectively in the hospitals. Here's the percentage positivity in Republic of Ireland. You can see last year again, collapsed in the summer. And here we are, collapsed in the summer. Going nowhere. Hospitalisations, Republic of Ireland, nothing happening. And these tiny numbers, right, as we get sozzled with the Delta variant, are with a positive PCR. A large majority may not even be with COVID. The Delta variant appears mainly responsible for sneezes and colds, as reported in the media. We'll finish with ICU, again, just bumbling along. And again, these are with positive PCR in many cases, not of COVID. What kind of people cannot see basic data like this? And you can go and look it up yourself and realise that this whole thing is outrageously anti-scientific. Again, apologies, but it's a special kind of stupid. It has to be. All over the internet we're seeing it. This tweet here just shows the data straight from World in Data. 3 countries with high Delta variant for a long period, 3 countries with low. There is no signal whatsoever. And here, the UK example again. But we have myriad now. Florida, which opened up fully September 25th, 2020, and has done perfectly fine with no mandatory masks and no lockdowns. They had around 10 or 15% Delta variant at the start of this year. It made no difference. Special kind of stupid not to realise this. Journal.ie did a survey just yesterday, 29th of June, and luckily around 50% are a sane majority. Scientific people, logical people, numerate people. They said no, everyone should be allowed to dine indoors from the 5th of July. Obviously. Then we have the people who want only vaccinated people to dine indoors, right? And they're against inalienable fundamental human rights, sadly. And then you have the people who said dining should remain closed. And they're the minority who are hopelessly deluded and propagandized. It's an absurdity. So over on this side of the house, whether through ignorance or badness, either way, special kind of stupid. We go back stateside now, and the absurdity that it's around 20% or higher in the States now, the Delta variant, and look at the level of ER visits with diagnosed COVID or positive PCR. I mean, if you correct for age, it's practically zero. But, of course, scaremongers general, Delta variant more contagious, deadlier, blah, 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 blah. Right? So we're seeing this nonsense all over the world. Here's blowing it up. The levels are tiny, right? Even as the Delta variant, the natural evolution of the virus towards its journey, ending in being just a background cold. Here it is. How can people not see this? Sorry, gotta say it again. I've shared before the real world risks in Ireland after 2 full seasons, massive spread, massive PCR positivity over a year, and the real world risks straight from government sources, right? You can see there the risks are tiny outside of comorbid and elderly cohorts. And yet people don't seem to internalise this. Sweden, in terms of lockdown, their deaths per million, the modelling was putting them up at enormous rates, but with no lockdown and no masks and kids up to 16 in schools throughout, no signal for extra infection or mortality in the teachers who taught in those schools, nothing. They had this level of extra mortality, and it only kind of compensated for the lower than expected mortality in the prior year, 2019. This is the reality in terms of lockdown. And simple examples. The Eastern and Central European countries were slapping themselves on the back because they seasonally missed the trigger of the virus in 2020 April. But then they locked down and masked like Billy-O coming in to the 21 season. But they became the worst overall cumulative mortalities in Europe. Still not huge in terms of excess mortality, but you get the point. They did uber lockdown and ultra masks prior to this spike and during it, and it didn't make any difference. I have a blog post you can search on my blog, thefatemperor.com. Search box top right, put in lockdown, you'll get this post. And I ran out of patience when I had 43 papers, articles and analyses showing that lockdown has minimal effect on the outcomes. And there are several complex reasons why it doesn't work. I know it's hard to believe it doesn't really work, but there you go. An example from Ireland I often give: last April, right? The supermarket staff were 8 to 10 hours indoors stacking shelves, no masks, April 2020, right through the pandemic. The great unwashed were pouring in and out the door, and they were mixing indoors with them. No signal for infection or mortality or anything. We had a lot of people who went around and polled them at the time. No one really got sick. The problem was overwhelmingly in the nursing homes and moving people from hospital into nursing homes when they were infected, etc. That's it, guys. And anyone who can't understand this basic proof point of lockdown, this is as simple as it gets. Well, again, I'm sorry, but what more can I say? So, what is the summary? Is this person and these people in NEFIT, ISAG, Zero COVID, and all the droogs driving this lunacy, are they a special kind of stupid? Or is there malicious intent here? Conflicts of interest? Other agendas? You'll have to decide, but the data is clear. It's either stupidity or a form of evil. And I'd suggest you download this video, share it on all platforms, right? I'll put a compressed version to basically go through the facts in this matter. And remember, you can go to whoismytd.com and you can find out your TD and you can lobby them to bring some sanity back to this debacle. Don't forget to subscribe and also to hit that little bell icon to make sure you're informed and get to counter some of the more corporate style science that's out there. So all the links are in the description box below, and also really appreciate all my PayPal and Patreon supporters and anyone else who can continue to support me to provide all the material that I do. It's highly appreciated. So thank you.